Namaskar. Welcome to this 9th session of Digital Transformation of Governance. This is going to be such a cakewalk and a very interesting journey into the annals of history. In this session, we would first try to differentiate between commonly used terms like e-government, e-governance and GolfTech. Then we will move on to understand how India has progressed over a period of time from 1990s till now. It would help us to unravel milestones of India's GolfTech journey. After that, we proceed to look at some of the major initiatives and we would elaborate them in details. Whenever I have asked this question to my participants of past, what is eGov? A lot of them understand it as e-governance and some of them understand it as e-government. However, despite the use of the word, the common understanding is something to do with use of technologies to ensure that services are delivered properly to the citizens. Correct. But one thing at the outset I would like to clarify that e-government and e-governance are two different things. As simple. If government and governance are two different things, why would not e-government and e-governance be two different things? Let us take one by one. As a hurried recall, government is everything to do with infrastructure, protocols, rules and regulations and people and institutes that are constituted to ensure that allocation of resources, public resources is done in a practical and optimum manner without any discrepancies. Governance is the reason government exists. Similarly, when we add the word E to government, we refer to all those activities which are involved in dissemination of information products or services using information technologies to ensure optimum distribution of public resources. Yes, we would refer to even public service delivery and use of technology in public service delivery, which is often called as e-services, in this category. However, governance is a bigger word and so should be e-governance. E-governance is actually a more throbbing bidirectional process in which citizens become active constituents of the process. Citizens involved in decision making through technology platforms, through mobile, through other such initiatives like hackathon, etc., become active constituents in the part of governance making, and this is what is e-governance. If you would recall, we had covered in session 2 in co-creation a word called as MyGov portal. Yes, it is not a word, it is a throbbing reality of e-governance of India. E-government is use of electronic technologies, which is information communication technologies and emerging technologies for better public service delivery, where citizen is just treated as a passive recipient. In brief, we could call e-government as ICTs in public service delivery. Examples of e-government are all the web portals which are used by government or public service delivery agencies for dissemination of public information, agriculture mandi, online registration, rural development schemes through web portals, social service pension windows fund through web portals, employment welfare services, utility payments and bill services, online tax payments, police complaints registered online, grievance redressal mechanisms and so on and so forth. So, whenever we use a government website or a web portal for any of the services which I just mentioned or many more, where citizen cannot put forth or air their views, it is e-government. Coming to e-governance. E-governance, as I said, is engaging with the citizens. It is co-creating values governance with active citizenry. So, it is use of ICT and emerging technologies for participatory form of governance. Citizen engagement is also elicited through crowdsourcing or hackathons, etc. And this is primarily categorized in three options: e-participation, e-collaboration, e-democracy. E-participation, as I said, are feedback polls, public surveys, hackathons. They all constitute a form of e-governance which is titled as e-participation. E-collaboration. collaboration is more to do with community forums. They are like, for example, we have Kisan groups which are on public portals. We have essential community forums where a vendor and supplier are connected to each other through online systems. We have third category called as e-democracy. Now, e-democracy is pinnacle of e-governance, which involves online voting. Irrespective of the type of e-governance it is, these web portals or means, including mobile phones or social media handles, etc., are used for providing more information or for permitting interaction of the citizens with government bodies or governance constituents on policy matters. Hence, such portals are able to give transparency to the system. Such portals permit us to involve citizens to maximum limit and is looked into as a mechanism to achieve good governance. The third category, or the word which is often used now, is GolfTech. How is GolfTech different than e-government or e-governance? Actually, GolfTech is nothing but digital transformation of governance using emerging technologies. It is a total overhauling of government and governance and is a fresh perspective of employing emerging technologies by crunching the processes, by relooking at the organizational structure and revamping them, by upskilling the people. So, long and short of it is that end-to-end digitalization of governance using emerging technologies is called as GolfTech. So, these are three different words: e-government, e-governance and GolfTech. And the difference between these three words is very thin. You could have a GolfTech which uses e-governance and e-government. You could have e-governance which also uses e-government, and so on. So, after we've understood the difference between these three primarily used words with respect to use of technology in governance spaces, we come to India's journey. India's journey, if all of us would recall, started somewhere from 1990s when we first got railway automation through CRIS and when we started ushering in the concept of office automation. Actually, this was pre-1990s. In 2000s, we got to hear about IT Act of the country being launched, Information Technology Act. We would know more about this act when we go to an elective which is actually to do with GolfTech policy aspects. Somewhere between 2000 to 1990 to 2006, another important growth was happening at state level and local level. Individual departments and state level initiatives were being taken by dynamic officers who were district collectors with technology background, technocrats as we call them, who had been ushered into the system by Alag Committee report. Now, these young bureaucrats with adequate exposure to IITs and other technical fields had a scientific approach of resolving the local issues at Tehsildar level in Tehsildar office using technology, and hence we got mushrooming of e-government initiatives at state level and local level. Like if you would recall, we had so many initiatives at that time which were becoming very, very popular, but they were totally restricted to state level initiative. For example, in Madhya Pradesh, we had Gram Doot. Now, Gram Doot was essentially in Dhar district of Madhya Pradesh, and many such initiatives were happening. So, this was 1990 to 2006. In 2006, a canopy, an umbrella was provided to these silo activities at state level or department level, and that canopy was called as National E-Governance Plan, NEGP, which was announced by the center with essentially 27 MMPs, mission mode projects. Now, this was, I would say, a landmark point in the history of e-governance and e-government in India. This point I must share with you. The word e-government is interchangeably used with e-governance. This is academically probably not the right approach, but however, in spoken lingo and in common media, we find these two words being used interchangeably. So coming back to NEGP, when NEGP happened, the state level infrastructure was given emphasis. We also got the creation of state data centers, we got clouds, we got common service centers, we got, as I said, there were 27 MMPs, some of them were central, some of them were state focused, some of them were integrated, like we have these 3 bills or lists. In 2008, we had IT Act being amended to incorporate the emerging trends in the country as well as global trends. Similarly, at this point, we had another achievement of what is called as NSDG, National Service Delivery Gateway. By 2010, the citizenry was resolving and resorting to mobile phones, and government could not be bereft of it. Hence, in 2011, we had M-governance, that is mobile governance, where 4 new mission mode projects were added to the plethora of existing MMPs, which was to ensure that all the web portals and websites of government would have corresponding mobile app, and these 4 new MMPs were essentially looking into this crucial aspect. Even the previous MMPs were being recast with mobile versions. In 2012, we had National Policy on Information Technology. 2013 set the stage for putting infrastructure on cloud. Yes, it is 2013 when cloud computing became a norm even in governance ecosystem, and it is this cloud computing which has set the ground ready for existing pandemic related initiatives which are IT based. In 2014, NEGP 2.0 was recast and was also referred as e-Kranti. 2014 15th August, we heard from the annals of Red Fort, Pradhan Mantri announcing what is called as Digital India program. And this Digital India program was formally launched in July 2015. This Digital India program, as some of you would already know, have 3 vision areas and 9 pillars. And it is this Digital India program which has helped us to combat pandemic so effectively. We would learn about this in the next session, where we would understand how Digital India paved way for a GolfTech model, how Digital India created spaces to have GovTech, which was a no-frill service where collaboration was happening, where participation of all the stakeholders were there, where database governance was becoming a norm, where all services related to pandemic were being generated, and government and citizens were becoming one when it came to policy matters. But all this in the next session, session 10, which is called as Digital India from now to Neo Now. Thank you. Jai Hind.